Clemson, Ivy Merlihan, Emma Hickey is the lock forward on the bench. It's Lucy Largston, Elise Smith, Nume, Sarah Kabai-Vada and Amelia Lolatonga. The Dragons out on the fields. They are, as per the program, 1-17. At the back, Brittany Constable on the wings, Caitlin Cardwell and Ashley Swan-Hales. Maddie Allardyce and Shakaya Tungia in the centres. The halves, Keely Davis, Rachel Pearson. The front row, Jasmine Sarin, Zoe Smith, Jennifer Latu. The back row, Kezzy Apps, Josie Strong, Erin Blackwell. On the bench, Talia Ratfield, Angelina Ramoni, Katrina Latu and Olivia Barry. The coach for the Dragons is Adam Bazina. And the coach for the Bulls is Dean Wymark. And we're going to observe a minute's silence to pay tribute to those who lost their lives in the horrible events in Christchurch over the past 24 hours.
A minute's silence of all those affected in yesterday's tragedy in Christchurch. Our thoughts go out to the families and friends affected by this tragedy. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Our thoughts are with the people of Christchurch on both sides of the ditch. The sides in one final huddle. What a match we have coming up. Both first round winners. The Riverina Bulls defeating Newcastle Hunter 22 points to 6, and the Dragons clinical in defeating the GSR West Tigers 52-0 at Camden last week. The Dragons chock full of NRL talent. You needn't look further than Kezzy Apps, Keely Davis and Shakaya Tungia. But this Riverina Bulls side, plenty of experience from union to league tag and even international rugby league. We have some internationals in this Riverina side today. The Bulls will run to the southern end of the Collegians Sporting Complex. They'll kick off. The referee, Ben Thompson, blows his whistle. We're underway. Round 2 of the Women's CRL Championship. It's kept low. It goes through the legs of Constable, who picks it up and runs it back into the defence. She'll be tackled 15 metres out from her own line. The Dragons clinical last week gave the Tigers a bath, and this woman here was the first try scorer in the competition. Indeed, that was Jasmine Sarin. As Davis goes outside to Apps, what a combination they struck up last week. No doubt they'll be looking to form a formidable pairing again. We've had plenty of rain here at Collegians over the past 48 hours. I think in horse racing terms it'd be a heavy 10, but it'll be a good old-fashioned slog in the bog, to use some rugby league terminology. So the Dragons 11 short of halfway, their first set of the game. Midfield, it goes now to Pearson. And Pearson decides to go high, and under that was the fullback in Tess Staines, but she's made a meal of it. The Dragons will get 6 again. They're 25 metres out from the Bulls' line. Not a good start for the visitors. A good kick by Pearson, and Staines couldn't handle it. Now it's Latu. 12 metres out from the line. The Dragons rolling forward, looking for their first points of the afternoon. Davis at first receiver. She goes outside to Apps, and Apps is brought down. It was a good tackle by Paviri. She needed to make it, and she did. Now it's Sarin. She knows how to find the try line. She did last week in the opening minutes, but she's brought down 2 metres out. They look to Kezzy Apps on the blind. Standing start by Apps. 2-on-1, and she finds her centre. And Maddie Allardyce will score first points for the Dragons. The defence was lazy. Kezzy Apps drew 2 defenders, had 2 unmarked on her outside. Maddie Allardyce, the gleeful recipient. We come back to that error from Tess Staines off that kick from Rachel Pearson. It gave the Dragons a second set. And the competition favourites make an early statement. Riverina will be bitterly disappointed with that start. No doubt it'll be a conscious effort by this Dragons side to pepper at that right edge defence of the Bulls. Now Rachel Pearson. Strike's pretty good, but it's out to the left, no goal. 4-0 the score remains. And we've had just on 3 minutes in this round 2 clash between the Dragons and the Riverina Bulls. Riverina, I'm sure, shocked many last week with that 22-6 win over Newcastle Hunter. I'm sure that many thought that the girls from the Hunter would be up there with one of the championship favourites. It's not to be. So back under the way from the boot of Merlihan. It's a shallow kick and down to Tungia, who missed last week's win over the Tigers. But the Dragons flyer back today. Normally plays on the wing, but finds herself in the centres as Blackwell struggles her way towards halfway. Latu, who found plenty of metres last week. She gets the arm free, and it's knocked on this occasion. Zoe Smith couldn't handle it, and the Helensburgh Tigers rake concedes a scrum. The Riverina's loose head and feed. First chance to see what the visitors have with the football. Pike standing at first receiver. That's the way they go.
Country Rugby League would like to take this opportunity to thank our major sponsor, SLE Worldwide.
So Clemson plays it.
They have been major sponsors for the Country Rugby League Championships for many years. Also, our other sponsors involved with the Country Rugby League.
Now with Katoa, a Tongan representative, gets the offload away to Leo Sevi. 29 metres out. Surging forward into the Dragons' red zone. Trailing by 4-0. It's Ravu going from dummy half. Driven back. Apps and Davis in there along with Blackwell. And now the kick going across from Suckling. It's well taken out there on the right edge by Tungia. Now it's Swan Hales, the Corrimal Cougar, playing the football. Alatu again, leaving defenders in her wake. Davis thought about the run around, instead goes to Apps. Apps met at close quarters by Suckling. Suckling makes the tackle, and now it goes to the boot of Pearson again, looking to pepper Staines. And this one, it's taken well. She was down on her knees, but takes it and then returns it with some interest. Much more composed under the high ball on that occasion as Gaynor goes for a run, looking to skip away there from Swan Hales, and she'll be brought down on the 40. Riverina starting to settle into their work. Now Ravu at dummy half, and Pike looks to her outside, and it's Leo Sevi who's driven in a big tackle by Apps in the middle of the park, who's looking for some defensive work, and now Suckling turning it on the inside for Lauren Dam, the Albury Thunder product. They're 31 metres away from the Dragons line. The ball with Suckling. Suckling, the ball's charged down by Davis, who manages to pick the ball up and go on a run towards the western touchline, but she'll go over that touchline. It was a good tackle coming in from Tess Staines. The Bulls will get the ball back. Seventeen and a half minutes left in the first half. 4-0 to the Dragons. I like the look of this halves pairing for Riverina. Suckling very involved early on. And Shannon Pike as well, steering the ship. What a battle against Rachel Pearson, who they tell me is from the Hay Plains. So she's a Riverina girl, but over here looking to make a crack and make a fist of things with the Dragon system. So Natasha Clemson playing out on the edge at the moment. Now Mullahead up over the halfway of the Bulls. Starting to get a bit of football, looking a lot more fluid, it has to be said, as Leo Sevi beats one tackle and then carries Blackwell and Sarah in a few metres. Out to the left with Pike. Pike looking to her outside, and she's found some space as well. That's Clemson going for a dart. They're 20 metres away. And the penalty as well. More possession coming up for the women in maroon. Now Clemson, 11 metres out. Now for Dam. Brought down by Josie Strong. 8 metres out. Ravu to the open side. Leo Sevi standing start to Katoa. Katoa offload to a lock there, and Emma Hickey, and Emma Hickey is brought down centre of the park. They're only 2 metres away. The Bulls looking for their first try. The dummy from Ravu. Ravu plants it down. 4 points all. The Bulls will have the chance in just a moment to take the lead. Ravu has looked threatening from dummy half. She spotted a bit of a gap. Blackwell couldn't make the tackle. And we are even. So Suckling, part of that Wagga Brothers League Tag dynasty, with a chance to add the extras and put Riverina in front. The strike's good. Over it goes. Well, if the Dragons thought today was going to be a cakewalk, they can think again. They certainly had it all their own way last week, but not this afternoon. Riverina leading with 14 minutes, 13 seconds left until the break. What a game we have on our hands as both sides look to make it to the knockout stages of this competition, as that ball goes down to the try scorer Ravu, who's made a meal of it, but according to referee Ben Thompson, it's gone backwards for Katoa now to return with some interest. She's up to the 30. It's only the first tackle for the Bulls. And Leo Sevi makes another 10 metres. Lauren Dam looking to her outside and taking the tackle and earning her side a penalty. Staines going for touch, but it doesn't initially find it. The bounce was awkward for the Dragons, but eventually they will come up with a football through Swan Hales. A couple of errors now in this game for Tess Staines. Shikaya Tungia playing the football as they go back to the short side through Pearson. Pearson looked to a winger who shaped to go on the inside. And Pearson will play the football 11 shy of halfway. Catch and pass. Strong. Proving exactly that. Getting out of one tackle almost up to halfway. The Dragons trailing by 2. Davis going to the boot. Staines was up fairly shallow, so she'll have to go back and retrieve this one, and retrieve it she does. Looking for a chink in the Dragons' armour, and there's not one there. Davis making the tackle with the help of Constable. Ravu throwing the dummy. Ravu, like the look of her early. The try scorer for the Bulls. Now slicing straight through. Big run. Katoa, oh! Leaving Zoe Smith in her wake. The Bulls getting physical as the ball goes to Suckling, and Suckling's found miles of room. Will it sit up? No, it won't. The Dragons out to the 20, they dodge a bullet. Winger and fullback weren't home. Allardyce wanted to take the quick tap, but Apps was slow to get back on side. Had to wait for her. She's sucking in the big ones. A physical start by Riverina. How about Katoa? Now Caitlin Cardwell scored a hat-trick last week. Now Blackwell one out. Running into Katoa and to Dam. Now Pearson to her outside. Again, good defence. They were up quickly. Clemson making the tackle. Back to Pearson. Pearson looking to her outside, and oh. It was a Moni. Now Blackwell going through the hands to Latu. Latu gets through Ravu, but the cover coming over the top. Now to Pearson. Pearson going to the air. Another tester for Staines, who decides to let this one bounce. It goes off the crossbar. Willing it to go dead. It finally does. Back out to the 20. 10 minutes left until half time. The Bulls with a 2-point advantage. Good physical contest between, you'd suspect, the two title favourites from what you've seen in the opening round and a bit. So Lee Smith told to go back and play it on the mark. Short ball again to Katoa. They tell me a Tongan international. Now Suckley getting the offload away to a lock forward in Hickey. Hickey now driven backwards. She tries to get the arms free, but the Dragons' defence does well to wrap it up, and there's a bit of push and shove in there as well, a bit of feeling in this one. Katoa again winding up. 30 metres away from the Dragons' line. The Bulls looking for their second try. Suckling at first receiver. She had Pike on her outside. Instead, goes on the inside. It was a forward pass. Had Lola Tonga, but was a little too flat for the referee's liking. Pearson to feed the scrum. Looked out to Tungia, went the other side instead. As the Dragons try to come to terms with this Bulls onslaught. Oh, going under a high one from Pike. It was Constable, the fullback. The Dragons a much relieving penalty. They've been on the back foot and in their own half for the good part of this first half. So Atfield on the field taking that tap and flying out of the line. Again, looking to see who that was. It looked like it was in the 16, Saruka Baivada and Lola Tonga on the park now for the Riverina Bulls. Another penalty. Hands of the play the ball. They want the quick tap. They won't get it though. Take two. Olivia Barry. 20 metres away. Back to Davis. Davis on the inside to Atfield. Atfield looking to ghost her way through, but the defence was good. They read it well. Davis at acting half goes to Barry. Barry now looking to unload the football. They wrap her up 1 metre out. The Dragons looking ominous. Going for the line as Atfield, but she's lost the football. It'll be momentarily play on. You'd have to think out to the 20 it will be lost in goal. Strong online defence. Reminder coming up after this one, the men's under-23's clash between the Dragons and the Bulls. Just got a number of jumper changes for the Dragons handed to me, but otherwise it looks like the sides will be as per the program, but we will keep you advised with that one. But first up, we've got the women's, and what a battle we have. 5 minutes 56 left on the clock here at Collegians in this first half. Riverina leading 6 points to 4. The Bulls with the ball 9 short of halfway. They've been impressive, the girls from out west. Now Shannon Pike had support on the inside, went on her outside there to Clemson. Clemson's brought down 41 out from the Dragons line. They've had the bulk of territory and they've looked the better side in this first half, the Bulls. Can the Dragons withstand the pressure? Fifth and last now for Riverina. The ball back to Suckling. Suckling going to the air. She's found some space. The bounce will be crucial. Oh, making a meal of it. Caitlin Cardwell. In fact, it was Swan Hales out on that right wing. Got a terrible bounce. It'll be a goal line dropout. Ashley Swan Hales would love that one over again. Another set, another chance for the Bulls. Katoa! You get excited every time she runs the ball back. She's getting caught up in that play the ball, Lauren Dam, and they get it away quickly. The Bulls, and now the offload there to Lola Tonga. Lola Tonga looking to carry 4 defenders over the line. The Bulls, can they get try number 2? On the bounce to Pike. Pike looks to her outside, throws the dummy, double pumping, throwing it off the ground. The call is play on. They've got numbers. They should score. They will score. Tess Staines. She might have made a few blunders earlier, but she makes up with it with a 4-pointer. 10 points to 4 in favour of Riverina. The Dragons girls shell-shocked. I know that NRL Dragons coach Daniel Lacey is having a look at this game today. He may just find a few of these Riverina girls as potential Dragons prospects. Shannon Pike. How about that ball? The elbow hadn't touched the ground. She was well within her rights to promote the football. Now Gab Suckley can make it an 8-point game. Can make it a 2-try contest. She's 5 metres in from the southwestern touchline. It won't have the legs. 10 points to 4. 2 3/4 minutes left in this first half at Fig Tree. Hope you're enjoying the coverage on Bar TV wherever you may be watching, whether it be in the Riverina or down the south coast. Having a look at this Riverina side, stretching all the way from the Hay Plains to Temora, down to Albury. Group 20 and Group 9 territory. So the Bulls will start their set 30 metres out from their own line. I think few thought the Bulls would lead. Having said that, I was talking to a few nervous Dragons fans before the game. I knew that the Bulls would be tough. Now they're in a real dogfight if they're to get out of this one. Now Saruka Baivada. Suckling, taking it to the line and just popping the kick in over the top and losing a footing, Swan Hales, but Constable was there to help her out, but she's driven back into the end goals. It'll be a goal line dropout, and the Bulls will get one more crack before half-time. Davis with the restart. And Katoa. Oh, big tackle by Pearson. Needed to be. Size mismatch, it didn't matter. She brought down big Katoa, but the Bulls still on attack. Kezi Apps making that tackle. As they look to penetrate this Dragons defence up through the guts, so to speak. Katoa again. Look at the Dragons defenders. 4 in there. Confusion. Again on the bounce to Pike. The ball out the back to the try scorer Staines, who loses the ball. That should see us out to half time. We won't have time for the scrum feed, you wouldn't imagine. There's the siren. An upset brewing in Wollongong. It's the Riverina Bulls 10 leading the Illawarra South Coast Dragons 4. A break and back with plenty more of the CRL Women's Championship. Welcome back to Bar TV's coverage of the CRL Women's Tackle Championships. An upset brewing here in Wollongong. The Dragons trailing Riverina 10 points to 4. The girls from out west simply sensational in that first half. They dominated a majority. Maddie Allardyce opened the scoring for the Dragons. For Uaravu hit back for the Bulls, and then Tess Staines minutes before half-time, extending a 6-4 buffer into 10-4. And very shortly, we'll be joined with a special guest in NRL Dragons women's coach Daniel Lacey, who's been kind enough to join us. Just finding him a seat so he can sit down and soak up this action. It's been an intriguing first 25 minutes as the Bulls get first use of the football in this second half. They've been super impressive, the girls from out west. Seriku Bavada, 8 short of halfway. We'll have Daniel Lacey in just a second join us. We're just grabbing him a microphone. As the Bulls carted up into the Dragons' half. 10-4 the lead in favour of the visitors as that ball goes back to Gab Suckling. And Suckling met in a pile-driving tackle as the Dragons look to muscle up. A point to prove after a lacklustre first half. Oh, and an error will give the ball back to the Bulls. And as we bring in NRL Dragons women's coach Daniel Lacey, Lace, your thoughts on this start by the Dragons? It certainly hasn't been by the script.
No, it hasn't been one that Adam Bazzino would actually think to pan out for him, but full credit goes to the Riverina team. They're actually really on top here, and they're going to pounce back here to capitalise on any mistake that South Coast Dragons make.
Now Suckling with the football, and she looks to her outside, and a cardinal sin, an error on the first tackle from Paviri gives the Dragons back possession. Now, Lace, you're not only the NRL Dragons coach, you're coach of the Illawarra Steelers, Tasha Gale Cup side. How did you go this morning? I know you had a game over at Corrimal.
Yeah, we had a game this morning there against the Tigers, and that was first place versus third, so we knew we were in for a tough game today, and wasn't it what? It went right down to the wire with 18 all with 2 to go, and we lucky to get a try in the corner to seal the game, but that's just a credit to the Tigers and the Steelers and their performance, the fight towards the end there, and it's just great to watch the under-18s talent that's available at the moment and ready to step up to this level.
As we see the Dragons cough up the ball again, the Bulls back into the red and whites half. Saruka Bavada getting the ball away to that other replacement player, Amelia Lolatonga. She's 30 metres out. Staines to acting half. The slow play, the ball will give the Dragons time to reset and get up off the line. They've been under siege as Suckling goes to her outside. Suckling's been really rallying the troops. A veteran of the league tag game out in Group 9. She's really pulling the strings this afternoon as she gets the ball on the outside. The Bulls go in for their third try. High fives all round. Another try. Sophie Gaynor this time. The Temora Dragons product crosses and makes it 14 points to 4. Daniel Lacey, the Dragons in all sorts.
Yeah, I think that's something that Adam Bazzino's really got to get the message out to them about completing their sets here, go back to the structure. But yeah, once again, full credit to Riverina that any chance they get with the football, they look really, really strong, and I'm really impressed with how they can move the ball around.
I'm sure you came here this afternoon having a close eye on the Dragons girls when you're deciding contracts for the 2019 season. But are you now looking at this Riverina side and thinking, geez, there might be some talent, some untapped talent?
Yeah, always looking for new talent to come in and step up to NRL level. And I've been really impressed with a couple of the Riverina players, and I watched their game last week. And it's just what this competition's all about. It gives people like myself an option and access to see some girls I probably normally wouldn't look at or have access to at this competition level. So I'm just really impressed that they can stick it to these Dragons with the big names that are in there.
As Gab Suckling misses that conversion, 14-4, the door slightly ajar for the Dragons. And Suckling, she's one that's really stamped her authority on this game. What have you made of her game in particular?
Yeah, so same as last week. I think it was a really close game last week there, but some of the bench that came on for Riverina really held their own and stepped up. And she's nice and strong and good for the middle and holds her own. Really safe player. Really impressed with how she's going.
As that kickoff goes long and down to the try-scoring gainer, split the Dragons' defence quite comfortably. Time off. We're told to go play it back on the mark. Riverina leading by 10 points. Kezzy Apps making a solid tackle there on Paviri. The red and whites with it all to do. 9 short of halfway, the Bulls, and they've lost the football. Maybe just gone undetected. I thought that one came free. May have dodged a bullet. Good solid tackle coming in. Talia Atfield in there, and she got some help there in the 17 from Olivia Barry. Now as the Bulls look out to the left, unloading the ball to Staines. Staines getting it away. That'll be 6 again. You'd have to think lost off the Dragons. I thought that may have come off maybe Tungia or one of the players there trying to affect the tackle, but it's play on for the Dragons as now Swan Hales goes from dummy half. She's 40 metres away from the Bulls line there, centre of the park. Starting to find a few gaps in behind the ruck. Barry on that occasion working over that Bulls middle. Now Kezzy Apps tries to spark her side. 19 metres out. I notice she's playing a lot more minutes this week than she did against the Tigers. Davis on the short side. She's another player that will really need to spark things if the Dragons are to come back. Atfield there at dummy half. Goes to her now. Apps standing start. Constable on to Blackwell. Blackwell 10 metres out. They're set to the right if they want to go that way. It's the 5th and last for the Dragons. Pearson now takes it to the line and throws a nice ball there to a back rower in Strong, and Strong unfortunately can't get away. That'll be the changeover. And Lacey, that's not the end of the set the Dragons were after there.
No, but I think they'll be happy that they've actually completed this set and got some field position here. Now, it's a bit of a turnaround here for Riverina to try and work out a half.
7 minutes gone in the second half. The score was 10-4 at half-time. The Bulls adding another try, 14-4. A tough assignment for the Dragons, by no means impossible with the strike power they've got. And Daniel Lacey, I suspect that fatigue might be a factor, and maybe that's where the Bulls might come undone.
Yeah, well, I think it's a test for both teams with fatigue here, being early in the season and not having the game match fitness. Oh, through. But yeah, so it's obviously going to be a test here, and it's always a battle too with the interchange rule as well.
Suckling almost getting through the gap. Now it's Lugston. 9 short of halfway as it goes to the boot of Suckling. Suckling's had it on a string this afternoon. Again, finds some open space, but the bounce is kind to Swan Hales, who's had a mixed afternoon, but that's a better run, and finally brought down there by Clemson in the 11 jersey for the Bulls as they now go to Tungia. Tungia's had a quiet game. Can she really set things alight? 10 metres shy of halfway as Davis, in fact, Constable sweeps to the short side and gets over halfway. The Dragons with some momentum and finally some sustained possession as well, as Sarin now beats one tackle, looking to beat another. Has the arms free, decides against offloading the football. Atfield appealing for a penalty as she goes to acting half now. Davis looking to her outside. She had some support there. It was nice hands by Allardyce, I think it was out there. She's 30 metres out, fifth and last. They get to the kick with Davis. Davis keeps this one low, looking for the in goal. It doesn't go that far, and now Warburton. Warburton will play at 12 metres out. Daniel Lacey, what can you tell us about Rachel Pearson? They tell me she's a Riverina girl.
Yeah, so I'm not too sure too much about Rachel, but Adam Bazina brought her to my attention there, the nines and that as well. But someone's really, really calm in the halves. It looks like they're going to steer them around nicely, and it's something that needed to happen in this team with some of the names they got to be able to steer them all around and get it together. But we're getting into a bit of a cycle now, with a bit of a set for set. So this is a good little battle to see who's going to break here.
A physical contest between two big middles. If anything, you'd have to say Bulls have the size advantage. But will fatigue be their biggest issues? It certainly isn't at the moment. 15 and a half minutes left in the game. 14-4 in favour of Riverina. Back to the boot of Suckling. It was charged down, and Blackwell, right place, right time. And they'll start their set on halfway. Now Sarin, who scored the first try last week, a historic first try. Oh, and a big tackle coming in. What a hit. Emma Hickey. May have just taken the stuffing out of Allardyce. And a player down in backfield, I think it's Sarad. As we take a bit of a break in play. But Daniel Lacey, how many spots do you have open? Can you tell us that, or have you sort of factored, you know, how many are locked and loaded, and how many might be open as far as your squad for the NRL season?
Yeah, so it's early days, and the competition now is in its second year, so it gives us access now to be able to talk to some players a bit earlier than we could have last year. And we had a good core group together last year that we'd like to work with again, and obviously we go around with a whole new set of contracts for this year, and the NRL hopefully have that up and running as of next month. So it's still early days, and I'm just really happy to have that access and more time on my hands to be able to look at girls in these competitions, to be able to put a competitive squad together.
Yeah, and you mentioned that this competition is so helpful for you. How badly needed was this competition, given we now have a women's NRL?
Yeah, I think any time that these girls get exposure to representative football is obviously a benefit to the women's game and to the top end as well. And I think that we really do have a great product at the top end, and we'd like to just make sure that we're doing the right thing down at club level to try and get these girls through the pathways that are there now. And the more that they can play at this level, the more access they have to better competitions and better oppositions, the better they're going to be as footballers.
Nice work by Pearson, getting the ball out the back. The ball was put on the boot by Zoe Smith. It's kept in momentarily, but the touch judge there, Eleanor Drury, says it's gone out. So that will mean it'll be a scrum feed 10 metres out, and the feed will go to the Bulls, you would think. Yes, it will. So not the result there for the Dragons, but you'd have to think that Adam Bazina will be happy with the way they've been playing over the past 10 minutes.
Yeah, well, they're fighting back now, and they really went into a cycle there. Something's about to happen, and they've just got to be patient and try and hold them out here so they don't get some momentum out of this set. But Riverina will be really looking to close this one out.
Well, can they do it? They've got 13 and a half minutes to close it out, but they're at the wrong end of the park. Some strong running again. These forwards just keep on working. Katoa, what a handful she's been. Played big minutes as well, which has been very impressive.
Yeah, she's a player that stood out last week too, from my vision, and she's standing up again this week. So no doubt the coach has put her back on there to make an impact.
They tell me she's played for Tonga.
Mate, she'd probably look good in red and white too. What do you reckon?
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Well, food for thought. Maybe is that a little hint from the Dragons women's coach Daniel Lacey as the Bulls get a relieving penalty with 12 minutes 50 left in this game. An upset brewing. 14-4. They lead the Dragons. The Dragons scored first. 14 unanswered points by the girls from out west. And they have been best, it has to be said, as Merlihan plays the football. They're into the Dragons half now with Pike. Pike looking on her outside to Lauren Dam. And the Albury Thunder product is tackled 39 metres out from the Dragons line as they go short side with Ravu, who's already got one try to her name this afternoon. Brought down 5 metres from where the ball was. Now it's Pike out there to Suckling. Suckling taken to the line, and Katoa was rocked but managed to get to her front and get a relatively quick play the ball as they sweep down to the short side with Suckling. Suckling going out there to her wing 3/4 and Paviri goes to Gaynor, who cuts back in looking for support. She's brought down 15 metres out. It's the last tackle for the Bulls. A try here could just about seal it, you think. Suckling rolling the ball towards the in goals, but there to take it is Swan Hales, and she will play the ball 9 metres out from her own line.
Yeah, they're really looking to kick to their left side, the right side for the Dragons there, and they're getting a lot of joy out of it, and this is a real danger position here for the Dragons.
Well, they've lost the football, giving the Bulls prime position. 10 points the margin. A try here would make things almost impossible for the Dragons. Pike at first receiver, set up on this left. Goes that way. Taking it to the line, Pike, and hoping to breach the line, but Constable was having none of it. She makes the tackle 5 metres out. The Dragons need to be resolute here if they're to hold out. The Bulls is a bit of a tangle between Pike and Constable, and a false start there. Ravu is looking to go down the short side. Doesn't mind a little snipe from dummy half. Now the ball to Clemson. Clemson 5 metres out. The Bulls, they can sniff another try. Leah Sevi, as the Dragons defence come flying in. Now Ravu. Katoa unloads the ball to her support. Leo Sevi, 2 metres out. Ravu again. Katoa. Oh, hit by Kessie Apps, who comes up with a bell ringer, and Katoa coughs up the football.
I think that's where the big players step up, didn't they? They was really repelled some of their one-out play there from Riverina, and she ran straight into Kessie, and now pressure's back on Riverina.
Latu getting the ball away there to Constable, who was trailing up the middle like any good fullback. Now it's with Allardyce. Allardyce scooting out of dummy half. All of a sudden, the Dragons, 5 metres short of halfway, having to repel set after set of balls, pressure, and Pearson, the cool head. Her hands desert her, and time slowly ticking away for the Dragons.
Yeah, I think with 9 minutes to go there, they really need to look to build some momentum and put some points on. But once again, Riverina aren't going away.
They certainly aren't. And if we thought that fatigue was going to be an issue, they're certainly answering those questions at the moment. Well conditioned, well coached as well by Dean Wymark. Certainly playing to their strengths. Natasha Clemson getting the ball on the outside, and the pass was behind. It wasn't needed. It was only the first tackle, and maybe just from Pike, that's a bit of inexperience in these big match situations.
Yeah, I think we're getting to that point now, or they're getting a little bit too much watching the scoreboard, not enough catching the ball. So, that's a bit of fatigue coming in, I guess, with that, but also the inexperience there to be able to just play this set out.
So Pearson goes unpunished for her error as she feeds the scrum, and Latu again. A big Mallee ball getting over halfway. Davis looked to her outside, but it was good line speed by the Bulls. And Davis had one option, to take the football into the line. Now Apps looking to spark something. Out to Latu, and Latu's driven back by this physical Bulls middle. Now Blackwell trying to inspire her side. 29 metres away. Davis on the open side. Davis putting it over the top. The chase is coming through. It sits up towards the in goals, but Staines dives on the football. 7 3/4 minutes left. The Bulls survive again. This has been some sort of defensive effort as now Gaynor trying to run away, but she's picked up by Apps going close to the sideline, but the Dragons give away a penalty.
Yeah, not really what they wanted right there as they give away that penalty. Once again, they get in the good field position and let them out. But Riverina now have just got to really stick to this set out, get back into the cycle again.
So they make about 15 metres with that touch finder. 7 minutes left. The Bulls looking to shut this one out. Would certainly be the upset of the tournament. And Daniel Lacey, a loss here. Would that rule the Dragons out of finals? I'm not 100% sure because I think there's only 2 rounds of this competition, and I guess it would come down to for and against and how other results go.
Yeah, I think it all comes down to those. I guess they only thought about if they won this week, they were going to get next week off. So we just see how the draw ends up out of this.
Because it's looking very likely that Riverina will cause a boil over. 14-4 they lead. Suckling to the boot. It's high. It's down to Constable. Constable goes straight through the breadbasket. Has to go back basically to her own line. She's trying to sprint away from the defence, but Ravu was chasing and roped her in like she was at the rodeo. And again, Ravu with a repeat effort. The Bulls are hungry. The Dragons are out on their feet. Allardyce wrapped up by Katoa, who would have to be just about best on, you'd have to think. Now Davis, they've worked an overlap. Apps gets it on the outside. They've worked it. Now it's Cardwell. Cardwell down the touchline. Oh. Can she find some support? Oh, she does! Kathy Apps backing up. And the Jillaroos veteran will set up a grandstand finish at victory. 14 points to 8 with a kick to come. It's by no means over.
Well, what a great game it's turned into there. Just a couple little drop balls, and but we're going end-to-end sort of football here, and makes for great viewing.
I think it was Caitlin Cardwell out on that left edge that managed to breach the defence, but also have the composure to look for a support on the inside. And Kezi Apps, I guess that's what stands her out, that support play.
Yeah, exactly it. I think they probably needed to get to edge a little bit more. Let the forwards a bit tired, so they've brought them in now. They've tightened them up. So just Keely Davis tipping on to Kezi there, but Caitlin had to do a fair bit of work there to once again keep her composure, to give the ball to Kezi, who's doing the right thing there in support. And what a game we have here.
What a game indeed. Don't touch the computer. Don't touch the TV wherever you may be watching, however you may be watching. 14-10 Riverina over Illawarra South Coast. 4 minutes, 18 seconds left. A Kezi Apps try breathing some life into this game. And the Dragons looking to breathe some fire in the final few minutes. The Bulls, as you'd expect, moseying very slowly up to halfway. Looking to suck in the big ones, chew up the clock. Well, if they are to pull the game out of the fire, we saw Kezi Apps on that occasion, but who's the game breaker, who's the match winner for the Dragons? Yeah,
I think the ball's got to get in their hands of Keely Davis, as someone's got a really good show and go and step on her hand and can break those one-on-one tackles. But the Riverina team here are going to bunch up, they're going to fight hard, and they really need to make sure that they get this full completed defensive set in.
So Pearson was nutmegged, but the defence came up staggering, and Shakaya Tungia almost got through. We're yet to see Tungia unleashed, but watch out if we do. So 3 minutes, 20 seconds left for the Dragons to pull this game out of the fire. Davis to Latu. Latu getting in between defenders. Zuckling making the tackle with the help of Lauren Dam. Davis again to this left edge. Davis running the football as Daniel Lacey wanted her to do. 38 metres out from the Bulls line. They're starting to roll over the top of the tired Bulls defence. Latu it is. Latu, still going Latu, looking for support. She's 25 metres out. Last tackled back to Davis. Davis goes to the line, but kicks it straight to Sophie Gaynor, but she was taken out, according to the referee, Ben Thompson. A penalty, 2 minutes 20 left.
Jeez, I really thought Keeley could have had a good chance to run there, but they've got another chance to even up the score here.
Could we be looking at a draw even? Now it's with Blackwell. 5 metres out. Latu, first receiver. Latu going towards the line. She's just short. The Bulls only just hanging on. Smith, the intercept. Oh, but it's offside. Katoa jumping the gun. 1:40 left. The Dragons with another set.
Riverina just got to hold them out one set here if they want to close this out, but it's going to be a mammoth effort.
One thing I guess that has done is chewed up a few seconds. But Davis now to Apps. Apps standing start. Hitting, spinning. Apps double try. Cassie Apps cometh the woman. Cometh the hour. 14 all. Leaving Rachel Pearson with a kick to win the game.
Wow, what a finish to the game there. And I know the kick's close, but it's going to be quite nervy for Rachel here to kick this one. But I got all confidence in her there. But, you know, big time plays there go to the big time players. So good work from Kezzy there to be able to have the strength to push through. And from a resilient Riverina team who's been fighting right to the end. And what a game.
What a game, what a finish. Do we have another twist? We won't have time for any more action. It comes down to this kick. We saw a thriller in the Tasha Gale Cup. I'm sure Daniel Lacey was pulling his hair out there. He's been pulling his hair out here in the last few minutes. And now it's on the boot of Rachel Pearson. The girl from Hay. She's a Riverina girl by heart. But she's looking to bring down the Bulls. The strike. It's over. Listen to the cheers as the Dragons, with 10 seconds left, lead 16-14. 3 seconds left. They need to put the ball on the tee. But they're not going to have time. The Dragons have escaped the seemingly unescapable. 16-14. They defeat a brave Riverina outfit. What a game, Daniel Lacey.
Well, I'm just sitting here thinking who'd want to be a coach. You know, Riverina are on top the whole game, and then the Dragons get their fair share of the ball at the end there, and as much as they tried to hold them out, it just took the likes of someone like Kezzy Apps to close out with 2 tries. And you know, I'm really impressed with both teams there today, and really well coached Riverina team there of how they turned up and run their structures and really turned up to play with the right attitude. And you know, the game's played in the right spirit, and I'm sure the crowd are walking away here with you know, with good fond memories, and they'll be loving the next game that pops up.
Well, I tell you what, if there are any critics of women's rugby league out there, if you didn't watch this game, watch this game. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I'm in disbelief. The Bulls, I mean, you'd have to say, for 40, 45 minutes, they dominated this game.
Yeah, they really did. And, you know, they really stuck it to the Dragons, and I don't think they realised that they were going to come at them that hard and put a lot of pressure on them, and that's where the errors came into the game. And watching last week's game, Riverina, both teams made a lot of errors, and I guess that's down to a little bit of a fatigue from round 1 sort of games. But I thought that was going to creep back into the game there at one stage, but credit to both teams there. They finished off nice and strong and completed their sets. And once again, it's hard to stop a team that's got the likes of Kezi Apps in it.
Okay, well, let's go through who you thought stood out for both sides. First for the Dragons, I think it goes without saying, Kezi Apps.
Yeah, well, Kezi Apps is, she's really dominant there on the left side. There's someone they look to go to a lot, but you got to watch that you don't stack all your defence on her all the time. Otherwise, you open up the other side of the field, the likes of Josie Strong and that on that side, with the two strong halves there, and Pearson and also Keely Davis. They really can open up both sides. But a lot of those players there are stepping up to the mark there, and Brittany Constable coming back from having a baby last year, and for her to be really strong at the back and pushing through and bringing the ball back on returns really well. Jasmine Saren's always straight up and down front row. You know what you're going to get at her every week. That's why we love putting her in the front row straight away. So some good signs there, but obviously they're not unbeatable.
And Shakaya Tungia, we didn't see much of her this afternoon, but good to have her back on the field.
Yeah, I think that gives you the other strength on the other side. They played her on the right side of the field, played her in the centre. She generally plays a wing and fullback, but she's someone who's really gifted with the ball in her hands, and you can play her in the halves as well. So she probably didn't get as much ball as she would have liked today, but really strong in defence and came up and in and shut down some of that good attack that Riverina had.
Well, let's take a look at Riverina now. There was some real talent across the park, and a lot of players put their hand up for player of the match. Who would you say was their best?
Yeah, I'm going with Katoa. On the back of what she did when she's on there, brought a lot of energy, brought a lot of line speed and aggression there. And when she goes off, the bench is doing a great job, but it's hard to replace someone like that. So someone like that in your team that can change the game and momentum, get an offload, is someone that the team looks forward to putting back on the field, and it's your go-to person. So I think she sort of stands out. She stood out last week as well. And young fullback, and Tess Staines as well was strong. She's great footwork, runs the ball really well, and I really like how their halves take control of the match. And nobody looks lost out there. And the hooker, what a goer! She's tackling everything. She's played full game last week, full game this week. And you've seen what she's like down there on the try line. Any chance she can have to run, any chance she gets a marker and tackles everything down. We're unearthing a lot of good talent here.
Yeah, we certainly are. We may even see them in red and white colours. Who knows? That's food for thought for you, Lace. Now, so we've seen now 3 games today. We saw, first of all, the Andrew Johns Cup, the under-16s, Riverina Bulls winning 26-12 over the Dragons, and then we saw the Dragons turn the tide in the Laurie Daly Cup, the under-18s, 38-16. And then obviously that thriller there, the Dragons winning by 2 in the women's. We've got the under-23's coming up. Do you have to depart us, or would you like to stick around?
Mate, sometimes you get a little bit footied out all weekend. I've had a close one in the Natasha Gale and a close one here, mate. It might be time to just sit down and put the feet up.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure having you. Look forward to watching, no doubt, the Dragons as they progress through this tournament. Obviously, the Illawarra Steelers in the Natasha Gale Cup and the NRL Dragons later in the year.
Yeah, so it's a full calendar for all these girls this year, and 5 years ago they were crying out for more football, crying out to do more games and represent their areas more. Now the likes of these competitions and NRL and State of Origin, Gillaroos, it's just a great time to be involved in the Women's Rugby League.
Daniel Lacey, thank you very much for joining us, and congratulations on the Dragons win.
Thanks, mate. Thanks, everyone.
That was Hello and welcome to the coverage of the CRL Men's Under-23 Championship at Fig Tree in Wollongong at the Collegian Sporting Complex. This round 2 clash between the Illawarra South Coast Dragons and the Riverina Bulls. Going through the sides first, the home side, the Dragons. At the back, Cameron Scott. On the wings, Jai Brooker and Tyson Simpson. In the centres, it's Dante Effaremo and Michael Appleby. The halves are Nicholas Greenhall and Cameron Vizzola. The front row, Luke Chalker, Cooper Purcell and Jubilee Samu. In the back row, Wade Aiken, Jaden Morgan, Tristan Alvaro. The bench, Tyler Clark, Max Wilson, Kate Simpson, Tom Angel and the coach, Wade Forrester. For the Riverina Bulls, it's James Girdler at the back. On the wings, it's Risiati, Khaleesi Wonga and Riley Flint. In the centres, Josh Fisher and Mitch Bennett. The halves, Curtis Fisher and Jesse Corcoran. In the front row, Zach Masters, Joe Lum and Luke Ingram. Hayden Philp in the back row alongside Liam Wiskin and Nick Hay. The bench, Liam Hayden, James Hayden Coward, Casey Wall and the coach, Jody Rudd. The Bulls running to the southern end of Collegians in this first half. They will kick us off. The Dragons will get first use of the football. The referee is Lewis Matheson. His touch judges Cameron Smith, Will Donato. Slight breeze, a few clouds in the sky, but no rain. We've had plenty of that over the past 48 hours and plenty of action on this turf. Underway, round 2, the Under-23 Men's CRL Championship. The Dragons with first use of the football, looking to back up last week's mammoth win over the Greater Southern Region West Tigers. Boy, they were impressive. You suspect it'll be a tougher assignment this afternoon. So Samu to play it. Alvaro, now the ball back there to Greenhall. Greenhall drilling it straight down the hey diddle diddle there for James Girdler to bring it back, and the Group 20 star brought down 20 metres short of halfway, where the Bulls will start their first set of the afternoon. Littered with talent across the Group 9 and Group 20 competitions. Our Hayden Philp, the hit and spin, the fend, can't get away there from in the 21 jersey. It's Wade Aiken. Now the dummy from Nick Hay, who earns a penalty. All offside, the Illawarra South Coast side. Curtis Fisher finds touch. What a thriller we just saw in the women's game. A try on the siren from Kezi Apps, getting the Dragons out of jail, 16-14. The Bulls with first chance to score in the Under-23 men's. Phil playing at the line to his front row forward in Zach Masters, who managed to get a tip on. 5 metres out. To the left they go with Corcoran. Out there to Girdler. Girdler's wrapped up. There was good defence, well read by the Dragons. Right edge. Now to Ingram. Morgan. In there with Samu and Effaremo. Now Corcoran out there to Fisher. Fisher skipping back on the inside. He'll play the ball fifth and last. Corcoran grubbering. Oh! Try time! Riley Flint touching down off a howler from the winger in Tyson Simpson. The visitors with the perfect start was Jesse Corcoran with a neat little grubber. Simpson's had a howler. Riley Flint, the Wagga brothers product, finding the try line. Jesse Corcoran, 5 metres in from the southwestern touchline. What a start by the visitors. Tough first up assignment. And he hooks it out to the left. The score remaining 4-0. And Corcoran may not have been able to convert that try, but he was certainly the architect with that pinpoint kick in behind Tyson Simpson, whose hands deserted him. And Riley Flint with the first try for round 2. So back underway. High kick off down to Khaleesi Wonga. And the winger, like a Vunivalu clone. Now Nick Hay from the Wagga Brothers Club. And his brother James on the bench, I notice. Talented rugby league family. Now Zach Masters, who spent some time with the Canberra Raiders, back home in Tumut and with the Blues. Now Liam Wiskin. The ball high from Corcoran. Simpson had no idea. It was actually taken by one of the Riverina players and through the hands. But the ball went to ground, and in fact it'll be a penalty going the way of the Dragons. Dodging a bullet, because it was another good kick by Jesse Corcoran. Masters over the top, preventing Samu from promoting the football. Now Morgan. Alvaro. A heavy 10 track in horse racing terms today for these two sides, and they're still not afraid to promote the football, although the Dragons losing territory, losing ground on that occasion. Now Simpson has coughed the ball up once in this game. Will look to atone for that error, no doubt. So from dummy half, Purcell finds a gap between winger and fullback, but it's Girdler who brings it back. He slipped and then succumbs to the tackle. Jai Brooker was in there, but was in there too long. Lewis Matheson finding fault. And the Bulls will go back on attack. Both sides, first up winners, Riverina, defeating Newcastle 26-18 last week, and somewhat of an upset. And the Dragons, 64-4 winners over the Tigers. As the Bulls cough up the ball. Starting to see the effects of having 3 games prior to this on the Collegiate Sporting Complex. Plenty of rain over the past 48 hours. So the Dragons through Chalker. Purcell dumming, then looking to take it to the line and give it to Alvaro. Alvaro had 3 defenders set upon him. including Ingram. Now Vizola. Purcell out of dummy half. They go from Greenhall out there. It's quick hands out to Scott, and he goes further afield to his winger. Back to Scott. Scott looking to probe and try and slice his way through the Bulls' defence. Last tackle coming up. Greenhall puts the kick in again. Problems! Oh, and Howler. Another one, and it's a try to the Dragons this time. James Girdler, I think it was, who tried to pick the ball up instead of grounding it. A sense of deja vu about that try from the Dragons. It's 4-all kick to come. Up the other end, it was Tyson Simpson coming up with the blunder for Riley Flint. And Cooper Purcell is the recipient on this occasion of an error from James Girdler at the back. You'd have to think a mere formality, this conversion attempt for Cameron Vizola. And he makes no mistakes, so the Dragons lead for the first time this afternoon. And we've had 11 and a half minutes in this first half. Keeping the ball low might be the theme of the afternoon if the first two tries are anything to go by. I doubt it'd be quite greasy out there. That ball kept low for Chalker. Samu to play it. Alvaro. Plenty of grunt in the middle for the Dragons. So Aiken plays it on halfway. Back to Alvaro. Ingram over the top. Getting some help from Philp. Last tackle to the boot of Vizola. Vizola wanting it to sit up, but it's going to just go too long. James Girdler showing plenty of patience. Even with the chasers coming through. Oh, big shot coming in. Ingram, the recipient of a bell ringer from Chalker. Now Masters. Short side with Phil. Tamora Dragons Jr. went through the grades. Was a first grade star last year, but he finds himself over in Group 20 with Leighton this year. So the Bulls to play it. 40 out from the Dragons half with Masters. Masters was initially tackled and managed to get up and go again. They're 31 out. As that ball's drilled towards the touchline, Simpson again was in two minds. Got the legs out of the way. Let that ball go into touch. If you missed the earlier games, well, you've just missed an absolute humdinger in the women's 16-14, a try on the siren to Kezzy Apps getting the Dragons over the Bulls. In the under-18 boys Laurie Daly Cup, 38-16 the Dragons over the Bulls. And in the Andrew Johns under-16 Cup, it was Riverina winning 26-12. So the Bulls looking to square the ledger here in the under-23s. But it's the Dragons with the football as they work it away out of their own half. Purcell, the try scorer. Attracts his side a penalty as the Bulls were all inside the 10. Well, the winner today will be guaranteed a spot through to the knockout stages of the Under-23's championships. As for the loser, they'll have to ultimately rely on results going their way. With only the 2 competition rounds, it does make working out who goes through and who doesn't a fairly tough task. So the Dragons on attack. Samu to play it 30 metres out. Chalker at first receiver. On to Cameron Scott. Scott was super impressive last week. Alvazola on to Alvaro. Offload away to Purcell. Purcell out now to his 5'8" and Greenhall. And Greenhall can't shrug away the defence, which was good. It was Corcoran up there. Aiken forced a kick. Oh, and the Bulls come up with the error. They were slightly lucky because I'm sure it wasn't the plan. Aiken, the back rower, kicking the football. Nevertheless, an error from Riverina gives the Dragons another attacking opportunity. Short side they go with Brooker. Brooker one-on-one. One-on-one. Brooker going for the line. Gets it on the inside to Appleby. Appleby going for the line. He scored. The Dragons, a trick play from the scrum. And Brooker and Appleby combine for the second try for the Dragons. Riverina side filthy with their defence off the scrum. Khaleesi Wonga was one-on-one with Brooker. I thought that for a moment Brooker had got away, but Khaleesi Wonga hung on. But a nice offload on his inside. Appleby doing the rest. And now Cameron Vizzola to add the extras. 5 metres in from the northeastern touchline. 17 minutes gone. The Bulls shot out of the blocks, but it has been all the Dragons in the last 10 minutes. Zola moving in. The strike's good. It's on its way. It's on its way. It's over. 12-4. A handy buffer for the home side. So that's a deep kickoff, and oh, they've made a meal of it. Goal line dropout coming up. Hasn't been their day, has it? Dealing with the kicks. So a goal line dropout coming up. It's a deep one. Ingram The red and white will meet him. Corcoran on his inside and picking up some... look at the hands there from Khaleesi Wonga. Khaleesi Wonga on the inside. The ball goes to ground. Still alive for the Bulls. The Bulls with Girdler. Girdler's only 2 metres out. Playing some razzle-dazzle footy, the Bulls, and they get the penalty. A chance for a hit back. Corcoran to Ingram. Chalker in there working over his fellow prop. Now Corcoran. Oh, Girdler. Catch and pass, but it went to no one, and Bennett has to clean up. The South City Premiership player in Group 9. Forced to go back and pick that one up. Now it's Fisher with the football in the 6th jersey for Riverina. And the Leighton product will play it. Nick Hay. 10 metres out. Bulls looking to hit straight back. Dummy from Masters. 3 in there to meet it. Corcoran. On to Whisker. And another penalty, this time against the attacking side. Interfering with the marker is the call by the looks of things. They'll be desperately disappointed because they were really working over the Dragons' defence. And you just wonder how long it was before the damn wall finally burst. Instead, it's Chalker for the Dragons as they work it away from their own end. Oh! Big shot from Phil. Now for Zola, the early kick, looking for the 40-20. It's certainly got the distance, doesn't quite have the direction. Girdler back there, a little bit of a skip step and trying to beat for Zola, and coming flying in was Appleby. Almost a collision forthcoming. As the Dragons size up Riley Flint, who scored the first try this game. Now Philp! Line break from Philp. He's got support on his inside, but he throws the dummy and loses it. The kick coming through. It's called play on. Khaleesi Wonga. Khaleesi Wonga in a chase with one of the Dragons players getting back, but Khaleesi Wonga knocks on the football. It was a good chase in the 11 jersey. Just trying to see who that was. It was a good effort. It was a good chase back. Hayden Philp, what a talent he is. Over the past couple of seasons, consistently one of the best players in the Group 9 competition. Now trying his hand out at Group 20. A first season with the Leighton Greens. So it's Sefaramo, who may have hurt his leg or his ankle in that tackle. He fell awkwardly. Alvaro with a persistent run. Aitken put on his back in the middle. And Chalker doing what he does best, straight and hard. The Kiama Knight will play it on the last as it goes back to Greenhall. He had to reach for that one, and this one straight down the throat of Kalise Wonga, who takes it, and the Junee Diesel gets out of one tackle, and they finally wrap him up. Greenhall chasing his own kick, had some help from Jai Brooker. A real good old-fashioned slog here at Collegians. And a penalty for the Bulls. A good first touch from James Hay on the puck now for the Maroon and Golds. And it's Hay again. To his brother Nick Hay. The show and go, and Curtis Fisher getting the ball away. They've worked an overlap, and Bennett a horrible ball out to his wing three-quarter, and Riley Flint, who couldn't handle it. The Dragons will consider themselves a little lucky because they'd worked the overlap nicely. Mitch Bennett's pass just didn't hit the mark. 15 minutes left in the first half of this CRL under 23's round 2 clash. It is the Dragons 12, the Bulls 4. For Ramo. Offload to Purcell, whose pass goes in between Appleby and his winger Brooker, but Appleby with sheer pace gets around the Bulls' defensive line. Finally brought down, 35 out. Good start to the set for the Dragons, albeit a little unorthodox. Now Chalker going back to that short side where the Dragons have had plenty of success early on. Now with Aiken. Samu bouncing away from the tackler, Purcell. On a Vizzola. Vizzola straightening up, stepping and laced around the boots. A good tackle by Hay it was, but Samu, 5 of them, offload back to Purcell, who gets a double. The Thurul Butcher carving the Bulls and making it 16-4. Jubilee Samu. 5 defenders. As soon as he got that offload away, there had to be space. And Cooper Purcell gets himself a double. And the Dragons could breathe a little easier. They lead by 12. And it could be 14 in a matter of moments. So, just having a look at the ground announcer, it might have been Chalker. I was slightly obstructed on who was backing up. Apologies if it is indeed Luke Chalker who touched down there. The 2 front rowers getting involved. Now for Zola. Conversion successful. Vizzola 3 from 3. The Dragons by 14.
Cameron Vizzola's conversion is successful. The Illawarra Dragons now 18. Riverina Bulls 4.
So that allowed to bounce, that kickoff. The Dragons having quite a few problems, it has to be said, So just having a look at the replay of the try, I was indeed right the first time. It was Purcell, in fact, who crossed the try line. Second guess myself when I heard the announcer credit Chalker for the try, but it was definitely the number 9 from Thurul. As now the Dragons break free again. Effaramo got Vizzola on his left. Oh, he sells some candy there to Girdler and goes in underneath the posts. This game is opening up.
The Dragons going once again, courtesy of number 3, Dante.
Oh, Dante El Dente. 11 minutes left in the first half, 22-4. The Dragons asserting their authority as Riverina ring in the changes. Ingram coming back on in the 10 jersey. I think if we look at the opening 10-15 minutes of the game, we thought it was going to be an arm wrestle, but a couple of quick tries, and they've blown this game right wide open, the hosts. Four from 4 for Vizzola. 24-4 to the Dragons.
Cameron Vizzola's conversion is successful.
2 minutes, 2 tries for the home side.
Scoreboard 1.5 minutes remaining in the first half. The Dragons now 24 points 4.
So the ball drilled low. Chalker tails up for the Dragons. Aiken. Belted by Ingram, who's fresh and back on the park, ready for another stint. James Hay it was in the 15 there. With a good run, and now they're up over halfway, almost a bit of push and shove. Aiken wasn't happy with the attention he got, a penalty. So just having a look for the Dragons. Max Wolfson on in the 15 jersey. A real character from the Shell Harbour Sharks Club. The ball away there to Effaramo, who scored just a minute ago. Ten metres out. Vizzola. Wolfson. Shrugging away. Wolfson! Girdler coming in to effect the tackle. Now Purcell out to Greenhall, trying to shrug away from in the 3 jersey. It was Fisher. But the ball was coughed up. The Bulls escape unscathed on this occasion. 7.5 minutes left until half-time. They trail by 20. So Lum at the base of the scrum, and now it goes to Kalise Wonga. The Bulls try scoring Flint, 20 metres out from his own line. As the defence comes in thick and fast on Hayden Cowlard. Plays his football for the young cherry pickers. Oh, a horrible kick. It doesn't find touch. Scott will pick it up for the Dragons. And they'll start their set on halfway. A coach killer, but Scott's hurt himself in a great deal of pain. Time off called. Some real concern for Cameron Scott. This is his home ground. The Collegians fullback. Good crowd in today at Collegians. Plenty of travelling supporters for the Riverina and for the home side. They've come out of the woodwork. They've braved the less than ideal conditions today, although having said that, the rain has held off. We got a downpour early this morning, some rain last night, and a deluge on Thursday night. Just driving up the M1, hazard lights on everywhere. You could barely see in front of you. It was teeming down. And ultimately, it's led to what you describe as a heavy track. And this is the fourth game of the day on this ground. And credit to the Collegians ground staff. It's held up pretty well. Certainly when you compare it to the SCG and last night's match between the Rabbitohs and the Roosters, it was turf flying up everywhere. So Cameron Scott's still down here. This would not be good news if he can't carry on. And it looks like the trainers will assist him off. He's trying desperately to stay on the park. And why wouldn't you? 24-4 up. I know that competition for spots is fierce, and I know one of these players don't want to lose their spot, but it's a long season ahead, and Cameron Scott, let's hope everything is okay. So Wade Forrester, he has some shuffling to do, the Dragons coach. Who goes to fullback? Perhaps Tyson Simpson, who's just looking for some instructions from the bench. In fact, it was Dante Ferramo. So that'll be tackle one for the Dragons. So Wolfson to play it. Angel in the 17. Greenhall taking it to the line. Aiken chopped down. Short side Purcell. Greenhall out there to just trying to see who that is out there. Assuming that right centre role. Now to Greenhall. Grubbers and ricochets. It goes back to the Dragons. Wilson gives it to Vazzola. Vazzola a chip over the top, but Gertler read it perfectly. Appeals for a penalty. Kalise Wonga. A good run from the left winger. Short side with Wiscombe. Earns his side a penalty. Four minutes and 45 seconds left until the break. The home side by 20 at this point. Fisher with the hit up for Riverina. A rare snipe for Joe Lum. One of a couple of Albury Thunder players in this squad. .35 out. Lum going short. Called forward to Cowlard. It was line ball. But referee Lewis Matheson was right there on the spot. Effaramo. Oh, Effaramo over the top of one defender. Already one try on the scorer sheet from the left centre. Out to Simpson. Good run by Simpson. Eventually upended by Ingram. Now Angel. Angel picked up. Concerns he was going to be put above the horizontal. Purcell splitting the markers. And a penalty. Ingram wanted to carry on with things. So 2 3/4 minutes left until the break. They'll look to hit the 30 mark. Short to Angel, steps off the right. A metre out. The Dragons searching for try number 5 for Zola. Short ball. It's a beauty too. No, it's forward. Thought it was try number 5 for the Dragons, not to be. Couple of forward passes, one from either side. So Flint to play it. The Bulls have 1:40 to try and breach this Dragons defence. But at the moment, they're going the wrong way. Philp to play it, back on the park. Cowlard now. 1:10. Looking for the 40-20 is Corcoran. Won't quite have the legs. As Appleby goes back to fullback with Scott injured, he's driven backwards. As the Dragons look to just play out the set, play out to half-time. A lopsided first half. May have been the Bulls opening the scoring, but from there it's been all Dragons. Effaramo. In fact, it's Simpson. So Purcell goes to Vazola. With 20 seconds left, he's lost the football. The Bulls will race to the scrum. Having said that, they're showing no real urgency, as if they're conceding that there's going to be no time to pack it. And in fact, there won't be. So 40 minutes gone, 40 minutes to come, but it's all Illawarra South Coast. They lead Riverina by 24 points to 4. A break and back with more. Welcome back for the second half of this CRL Under-23 men's game between the South Coast Dragons and the Riverina Bulls. 24-4 in favour of the home side here in Wollongong. So just some corrections as we get underway. A solid collision. First up as the Bulls come back. It's Wade Aiken in the 11 jersey, Jaden Morgan in the 21. So apologies if there was some confusion in that first half. As the Bulls look to eat into this 20-point deficit. Fisher to Philp. Philp, one of the better Bulls players in that first half. Now Cowlard. He'll play it on halfway. Last tackle. It goes back to Fisher. And Fisher back to Appleby, who's gone back to fullback with Cameron Scott injured. You would expect he'll take no further part this afternoon. So Simpson plays it. The Dragons hoping to protect this lead. They'll be looking to even build on it. Oh! Hey! Big shot on his opposite number, Wolfson. So the ball back to Greenhall. Girdler having to play the football. Brooker's chasing him. So is Greenhall. They drive him back towards the end goal. He goes to ground. Slow play the ball for Kalise Wonga. He's got nowhere to go. Appleby roping him in. Question marks on the play, the ball, and a penalty to the Dragons. Kalise Wonga making no effort to get to his feet. It looked like a dog's breakfast, it had to be said. And the last thing the Bulls needed. 24-4 down. So Purcell for Wilson. Vizzola to the line, Appleby chiming in, steps off the left and a desperate tackle. Dummy half. Held up. Effaremo just short. Just short of his second try of the afternoon. So back to the 10 they go to resume the set. Vizzola. Big Tyler Clark, impressive last week. Gets his first minutes of the afternoon. Greenhall set to the right. Dummies. Almost through. Ingram with a try saver. Fifth and last. Face ball. Clark against the post. He loses it. Out to the 20 for a optional restart for the Bulls. Courageous defence from Riverina. The Dragons threw quite a bit at them. As Morgan and company muscle up. Angel in there as well. Phil Pate short of halfway as they go to the short side, looking to test the edges. Fisher hitting a hard line. Cross to Ingram in the middle. Through the hands it goes to Bennett. Bennett bounces away from one. And then there's three there to meet him. Fifth and last. Another penalty. Incorrect play the ball. It's killing the Riverina side. And some consistency showing from Lewis Matheson, the referee, this afternoon. One of the first things you're taught as a junior is how to play the football, but it's amazing how many times we still get it wrong at the top end. So Clark for the Dragons. Morgan in the 21. Greenhall turning it on his inside to Angel. Angel away from a pretty weak attempted tackle from Wiscombe. Another offload away. Purcell, the cutout ball there to Vizzola, who dummied to his outside. He had numbers galore. He still has spiders on him as the Riverina defence struggles to bring him down. Now it's Greenhall. Greenhall out to his back rower in Morgan. One-on-one there. They've worked some space, but Kalise Wonga coming up with a ball and all tackle on Brooker, who goes into touch. Exciting play from the Dragons, but Riverina up to the test in defence. So the scrum is fed and Kalise Wonga confidence is up after that bone-jarring tackle to get Brooker into touch. It's been rocks and diamonds from the Juni Diesels winger today. Haven't seen much of the young fella, admittedly. Now Fisher losing the football. Did it have some help? Which way is the scrum going to go? It's going to go, by the looks of it, to the Dragons. Not what they needed on their get-out set. And it's the visitors trailing by 20 points. That was the half-time margin. The half-time score, 24-4. So Greenhall to Appleby, out of a flimsy tackle from Wiscombe, but he's brought down from behind. The Dragons should score. Will they? No, yes they will. Morgan scores. No, he doesn't. He's short. The Dragons hot on attack. Greenhall at first receiver to Vizzola. Vizzola further afield there. And now they should score. They should score. No, they don't. A metre out. This time, they won't be denied. A double for Dante Ephraimo. The Dragons running away with it. Well, I thought 3 times in that set the ball was planted on the line. It was desperate from the Bulls, but not desperate enough. Hayden Philp just having a word with referee Lewis Matheson, not happy about something clearly. One of Cameron Vazola's tougher assignments this afternoon. 10 metres in from the southeastern touchline is to make it a 26-point margin. And this time it's hooked to the left. 28-4 the score remains, but the visitors with it all to do, and with 30 minutes to do it. And we've just got word through that despite the Riverina losing it, a heartbreaking loss to the Dragons in the Women's Championship, they will go through to the quarterfinals or the semi-finals. We'll have to check that one for you, but they will be on the other side of the draw from the Dragons, which means they could meet again in the final, quite possibly. And I'm sure they'll have revenge on their mind. Wilson with a strong run for the Dragons, and they're up to halfway already. And Purcell, what a game he's having. With oodles of time out, a dummy half, he gets the ball away off the boot and down to Girdler. He's roped in by Appleby, the opposite fullback, playing in the forward jersey. Started in the centres, but Cameron Scott's injury means he's gone to the back. So the Riverina looking for a response of some sort. The Dragons' defence has muscled up this afternoon. Under pressure there is Casey Wall, and they've coughed it up on the last. The wheels falling off for the Bulls. They're losing their way. It was a Dragons knock on out of all of it. So they restart with the ball. Fisher hammered, upended and dumped. Now James Hay. Khaleesi Wonga. Good tackle by Brooker. Got some help too from Cade Sampson. Now Nikkei. Wall out there, and Ephraimo was up quickly. There was no way through for Bennett. So now to the boot of Wall, who gets the spiral torpedo. It's a good kick. Oh, Appleby! He couldn't regather it, and the Bulls concede a penalty. They were all offside, the Chasers. A get out of jail free card for Michael Appleby, who probably didn't think he would be having to defuse those bombs when he started the day in the centres. But no Cameron Scott means it's been thrust upon him, the responsibility of the custodian role. Clark with it. Offload was good. Appleby trailing. A couple of tackles already up to halfway, the red and whites. Morgan on his hands and knees. Now Sampson. Short side. Greenhall. Chip over the top. Girdler gets a horrible bounce, but dives and pounces on the football. Fortune favours the brave. And Girdler was every bit brave. So short side, Fisher's jammed. Like these right edge defenders in Greenhall and Brooker. Masters plays it. Girdler nowhere to go. Now it's with Ingram. Ingram losing it. The Dragons can go here. And they almost sneak through. Aiken. Dancing is Simpson. 15 out. Purcell. Vizzola. Clark at the line. Looking to get the ball free. Masters over the top. Seals it up. Greenhall taking it to the line. Oh, what a hit coming in by Liam Whisker. Appleby to Vizzola. Wider to Angel. Now it's Aiken. One-handed ball. Almost. Seferemo looking for a hat trick. Fifth and last. The kick coming through. It ricochets. The Dragons claim it, but it's knocked on out to the 20. "23 minutes or thereabouts left. 24 the margin in favour of the hosts. Oh, and confusion. Lum and Ingram, the Thunder teammates, they weren't on the same page. Yet how many times we would have seen them get it right as Vizzola. He was oh so close to busting through for a try. Alvaro looking to go over the top of Ingram and Hay. Purcell looked to his right, goes to his left, and Cameron Vizzola finds the white line. 32-4. And the Dragons' juggernaut just keeps on rolling. Cameron Vizzola had a nice tidy points tally last week, courtesy of 10 goals and a couple of tries as well. 28 points last week. A try this week and looking for goal number 5, which would take him to 14 points. Really liked him and Greenhall and the way they've worked together in the opening 2 games. Just looks so threatening every time he has the football. He certainly is the triple threat. And how handy he can kick goals as well. So 34-4. You'd have to say on this performance, the Dragons are the favourites. Certainly, they'll take out this pool. So the kick-off high and long. Chalker brings it back. Samu back for some action. Masters with a big hit. Morgan to play it. Now Alvaro, geez, doesn't he run with plenty of enthusiasm? Can always be guaranteed he'll hit the advantage line. Here's the try scorer, Vizzola, just steadying things with a kick to the corner. Girdler, oh, Girdler! He's had a shocker there. He looked up, a sea of red in front of him, and the ball bobbles away from his grasp. It gets bad, and it gets worse. Certainly, if you're a Bulls fan, that is for sure. So the scrum's fed. Greenhall turning Appleby onside. Hit and sprint from Appleby and a try. The centre turn fullback cuts the Bulls to shreds. 38, soon to be 40. Shades of last week where they just tore the game apart. Illawarra South Coast. They've really warmed into this game after conceding first. 38 unanswered points. They put on 64 last week at Camden. And with 18 and a half minutes left here, another 4 tries not out of the question. No mistake, 40 points to 4. So the restart for Chalker to run back. Just a class above this afternoon. Samu. The Dragons bench, as it was last week, super impressive. Simpson to play it. Rolling out of that tangle he was in with Joe Lum. Now Alvaro, surprise, surprise, up over the game line again. 60 metres set for the Dragons. They'll get to their kick through Greenhall. Greenhall drilling it back to the centre. Worked for Girdler, who gets a kind ricochet off the post. Girdler out of one tackle, dancing, trying to find a way through. But there was no way through. Casey Wall losing the ball. The Dragons back on attack. Efaremo plays it. Alvaro to Samu. Samu, he stopped and propped, and now he's looking for a way through, and there is no way through with Corcoran and Masters. The 7 and 8 combined to bring him down. He's told to go back and play it on the mark. 15 metres out, the Dragons looking to extend this big lead. Purcell looking to his right, but instead goes to the left. Now it's Vizzola, standing start. Vizzola, he's looking for a double. A metre shy. Purcell rallying the troops. Greenhall. Morgan, short ball out there. It was forward, no, wasn't. 5th and last. Greenhall wants it to the open. Grubbers looks for the post, gets the ricochet. But it's a penalty. The Chasers all inside the 10. Jumping the gun. It's a little too eager to chase that through. It's easy to have plenty of enthusiasm when you're up by 36. They all want a piece of the pie. I'm sure for these Riverina players, they want the full-time whistle. It's been a tough afternoon. But can they finish off on a high note? Nick Hay. A determined surge through the Dragons' defence. Now Corcoran out there to Ingram. Ingram puts his outside support under all sorts of pressure in Casey Wall. Now with Masters. Offload. Oh, and a big hit coming in. That was in the 21 jersey, Morgan. 19 metres out the Bulls. Corcoran. Wiscombe. Dummies. Liam Wiscombe slides his way over the line. The Bulls finally some joy. And it comes from the young Albury Thunder second rower. Persistence paying off. 40 points to 8, kick to come. Certainly is a talent, Liam Wiscombe. And Jesse Corcoran. 10 metres in from the northwestern touchline. It's a good strike. It's coming round nicely. It's over. 40-10. 12 and a half minutes left. Was undoubtedly the Bulls' best passage of the match.
Successfully converted by Jesse Corcoran. 12 minutes remaining in the match. The Dragons now 40, Bulls 8.
A rare kick-off for the Dragons. It's shallow and Josh Fisher under it. Ooh, off the boots. Was lucky to get away with that. Now Ingram. Hay on to Masters. Short side with Wall. Wall looks to his outside, gives it to Bennett. Bennett cutting back against the grain and looking for a way through. Philp offload, looked for Masters, bat on to Nick Hay. Out to Corcoran. A big set by the Bulls. They're within 25 of the Dragons line. Back to Wall. He goes the spiral bomb. Appleby again. He's in no man's land. He drops it. And coming through The Bulls, no. All offside again. Lewis Matheson has been on the case this afternoon with the kick chase. By my reckoning, that's probably about the fourth penalty for offside from the kick. It's a disappointment. Dragons back with it. Alvaro. In fact, Samu it was. Ooh, question marks on that pass. And instead, the Dragons get a penalty. Chalker just having a few words with a few of the Bulls forwards. No doubt rubbing in the scoreline a little. Samu out the back, Greenhall, oh, it's a training run for Alvaro. It looked very slick from the Dragons, and they opened up the Bulls. Purcell for a third, he goes instead to Samu. Oh, there's no stopping Big Jubilee. Samu, another try for the Dragons. It was all too easy, a quick play, the ball, and Purcell heads up, play, and Samu, the big wrecking ball. The Thurul connection. So 8 3/4 minutes left. The Dragons' next assignment will be eyeing off the 50. So that's 18 points for Vizzola. 7 from 8 and a try. 46-10. So the Dragons will cruise through to the knockout stages. A try scorer, Samu. Morgan plays it. Alvaro, trademark run. Getting offload away to Angel. Angel getting it onto Chalker. Brought down on that halfway mark. Chip over the top from Vizzola. The chase coming through, but the Bulls were alert to it. But they've lost the football. Backwards is the call from Matheson. Quiet afternoon for Mitch Bennett. No stranger to success with his South Sydney Bulls club in Group 9. Lost last year's grand final, but won the 2 prior to that. He was involved in all 3 of those grand finals. As we tick away towards the final 5, Masters finding some tired Dragons defenders. And it's Phil to play it. Again, confusion. Ingram. The ball lost. The Dragons, some high fives, some hugs. They know the game is theirs. Well and truly. And they'll get no better chance to put on a 50, a half century than right here. Scrum on halfway. So it's Vizzola to Appleby, away from Bennett. Wall comes in, finishes him off. Hefferemo. What a try he scored in the first half. He's got 2 overall. Now Aiken. In fact, Chalker that was. Going to the line, Morgan. Samu! Samu the wrecking ball! Try number 2 for Big Samu. There's the 50. 4 minutes left. The crowd really has dissipated. They know the result has been beyond a doubt for quite some time. But there's still the Hardy supporters in here enjoying this clinic from the Dragons. And they have a wait to see who they will play in the next round in the semi-finals. Cameron Vizzola now looking for 20 points in 2 consecutive games. 28 last week, 18 at the moment. 10 metres to the right of the right-hand upright. Never in doubt, was it? 52-10. 2 3/4 minutes left. A tough afternoon for the men from out west. Chalker again. Big stint from the Thurul Butcher front rower. Samu, he'll keep on running. 2 late tries for him. Good second stint. That's Brooker losing the football. So one final chance for the Bulls. So Wall sets up at first receiver. He's got players deep. They may look to test the edges, and that's where they go. But they go into touch. But it was done illegally so. Into the last minute at Fig Tree. The Dragons, for the second week in a row, hit the half century. Filth for the Bulls. They're 15 away. They'll have 3, maybe 4 plays. Our Masters hasn't been able to influence the game maybe the way he would have liked today. Waller cut out ball. They may get a late consolation. No, they won't. That is solid defence by the Dragons. Simpson and Effaramo simply unstoppable on the left edge. So last play of the game. The Dragons clinical here at Fig Tree. 52-10, they have defeated the Riverina Bulls in round 2 of the CRL Under-23 Championships. The Dragons, they'll go through to the semi-finals. You'd have to think that's curtains for Riverina. We look forward to your company for the finals of the CRL Championships. But that's all from Fig Tree today. Trust you've enjoyed the company. It was the Dragons, too good for the Bulls.